Good afternoon. Welcome to Ball and Ballers. I'm Z. This is Man United News. And did you guys see that fight on Saturday? It's a good fight. But from next year, I'm going to bring in more sports because this ain't just, I've been saying this from the start. This ain't just a Man United channel. This is basically Man United News, this show is. But I'm going to have other stuff incorporated into it next year, like boxing, like, variety of different sports. I might even bring in wrestling because I know there's a lot of wrestling fans who keep telling me to talk about wrestling. So I might just do stuff like that. So this channel is going to get expansion. It's going to get an expansion. I'm also in the process of setting up another channel with some friends of mine. So it's going to be just a banter channel. We're just going to discuss stuff that lads discuss over a few drinks in a pub, basically. So that's what it's going to be. And I'm also going to do another channel with a female presenter and talking from a male and female perspective on different subjects. But let's not bore you with that stuff. Let's get into today's video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so whenever I drop a video, you will be notified. And I'm going to go into talking about January transfers. And there's a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff going on at the moment. And there's players that we seem to have a strong interest in, there's rumors that they seem to have a strong interest in coming to us, and one of them is Elliot Anderson. Now, his socks off against us. He played brilliant. He played well his next game. He's been really there. He's somebody that wins tackle. He's somebody that can progress the ball forward, and that is something that we need. He's good at passing. He finds players open. So his vision's good, and that is something that we need, and we have a strong interest, and apparently now he's gone to the top of our list. So if Elliot Anderson's at the top of our list, yeah, I'm down for it, but are we going to get him in January? No. I don't think Forest will get rid of him in January, no matter how much we pay. I think this will be more of a summer signing, and if he goes to the World Cup and does really well, it might cost us an arm and a leg, but rumor has it it's going to be less than 100 mil either way. Which brings me to the point where, does he have a release clause in his contract? How are people sure it's going to cost less than 100 mil? So I'm thinking there must be a release clause in his contract, but it's probably going to be one like the Gibbs White one with Tottenham, where there was an NDA involved. And I don't agree with having an NDA involved for something like that, because it's a way of people playing over the odds, and I think stuff like that should be declared so people know the range of release clause in the contracts. And that's my opinion. I don't think we should have a NDA on it. I think it should be released because his agent's gonna know, players gonna know, the team's gonna know, but nobody else gonna know. So I don't want that Gibbs White incident, that thing that happened with Tottenham. I want to bring him in, and I think in the summer we will. I don't think this will be for January. I know there's players that have been shortlisted for loans in January with obligations to buy, but I don't really want obligations to buy either. I want options to buy, because then it's effectively down to United whether they want the player, whether the player performs or not. But Anderson has reached the top of the list. I think he's bypassed Wharton, and he's bypassed our next person I'm going to discuss, which is Carlos Baleba, who hasn't been performing well recently. Cameroon out of the World Cup. He goes away for AFCON in December. But he's dropped a bit for me, just because of his performances. I don't know whether United's gone in and said, perform poorly so we can get you for a lower price. I doubt that's happened. I just think his head's been turned and he's just not performing. And I don't want to repeat the same stuff that I repeated last week, week before that. So I won't be speaking too much on it, but I think he's dropped, and I think his price should drop also to reflect it. January, I don't think January is the right time either. I don't think Brighton are going to let him go in January. There's rumors that Brighton won't let him go in January. So it might be more towards the summer, but since he's not going to the World Cup, that won't really affect his price increase. Because usually players perform well in the World Cup, like I just mentioned, their prices go up. So he's probably not going to be one of them players playing in the World Cup because Cameroon haven't qualified. Which makes me think what's going to happen with Adam Wharton. Because that is, he was really one of the players on top of my list. It was originally Baleba, Wharton, and then Elliot, and then Stiller. And I know we got João Gomez interested, and that might be a potential for January, I reckon. João Gomez, he might be a potential for January. Bring him in on loan because it looking like Wolves are going to get relegated the way you look at it. And, you know, if you can get him in on loan in January, that's fine. But Wharton, he might go under the radar. There's quite a few teams there's a lot more teams that are interested in him than they are with on Elliott and Baleba. So he might go under the radar for us. He might be scooped up by somebody like Chelsea, Tottenham, or somebody else who's interested in somebody bringing him in for that role. And I do, as much as I like Wharton, I don't think personally we're going to get him. And I think we're probably going to be looking forward to, because Casemiro, let's face it, he's even though he scored on the international break for Brazil, captained them, there's no way you're going to re-sign him without him taking a 50% pay cut. There's no way he's going to take a 50% pay cut. So I think effectively that will probably be his last season with us. I think Bruno probably going to go as well. But I'm going to bring more about the players that I think are going to go and I think are going to stay more towards end of November, I think. Maybe possibly start of December, and who I think we're going to bring in. I'm also going to go over a video for what I think the team's going to be for AFCON, so I still ain't done that yet, but I'm going to bring that in as well, probably in December. But I do think Wharton is a player that I want, but we probably won't get. If I had to pick between two that are interested in us, two that we're interested in, it might be Elliot Anderson, I'm hoping, and potentially Baleba, because Fabrizio Romano did mention that Baleba was the player that we wanted and that we're probably going to go for in the summer, and the interest is still there from player and the team. So Fabrizio's not normally wrong about stuff like this. We normally get a here we go from him about stuff like that. So I don't think he's going to be far off, to be fair, from Baleba. So if one of them's probably going to be Baleba, the other one is probably going to be, for me, Elliot Anderson. But still is just as good, but he's not Premier League proven. Elliot Anderson is. So that's my reflection on that subject. And also Mainoo. Now, there's a strong possibility he's going to go out on loan in January. Now, there's a few teams interested in him, like Napoli. Napoli are interested in him. That's one team. But it's a strong interest from Napoli, who really want him on loan in January. And I think that if Amorim stops him or the club stops him, he's going to be a disgruntled player and he's not going to be happy, especially when he's trying to make it into the World Cup squad. He hasn't been away on his national break. So, you know, he wants to actually play first team football. That's why I think this January transfer probably will happen. And if he gets stopped, then we're going to have a player who's really disappointed, who's not happy, who's trying to make his way into the team and can't get his way into the team. What's interesting as well is rumor has it that we're bringing in two central midfielders. And if we are, what's going to happen to Mainoo? That is the big question. So I don't think they're going to stop him from going away in January. I think in January he'll probably move away, which will leave us a gap in that midfield because we haven't got the rotation in that midfield. So it's going to leave us quite stuck. But then, you know, if something happens to Bruno in February, we're still stuck because we ain't got Mainoo to slot into that position. So effectively, I think he's probably going to go up on transfer in January, and I reckon that's probably what's going to happen. Another player that's up for grabs is Joshua Zirkzee. Rumor has it he's probably going to go in January too. AC Milan have already stated they're not interested. I don't think he's their profile of a player, but West Ham are interested in taking him on loan. So that's another player that I think, because the lack of game time, he's probably going to go in January as well. So that's two players that we're potentially going to loan out in January, but who are we going to bring in to replace them? I know one of the interests is João Gomez, and the other... it's going to be a tough, because we're going to need two, aren't we? But yeah, that's where it is at the moment with that. And that's just rumors of what's probably going to happen in January, which I don't think will happen in January. But, you know, with the players coming in, that is. The players going out, I think Mainoo and Zirkzee will both go on loan in January. And that's really going to change a lot of things, especially with injuries, especially with players going to AFCON. It's going to change quite a lot of things. So we need to make the right decisions in this case. Thanks for watching. That brings me to the end of the video. Please like the video. Please share the content. Please comment below and let's interact. Please hit that notification bell and subscribe to the channel. And I'll bring you further videos this week. Last week I had one video because I felt like a bit of a break. It just overwhelmed me with all that stuff that's going on in my personal life. So I took a bit of a break. I dropped probably one video. I was going to drop a few more, but I was that busy, that tired, that run down, that I thought because we're going on an international break, I might as well take a little break. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video later on this week. Thank you for watching.